Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. I think that if the Ukrainians keep on advancing at the pace they are saying they're advancing, maybe by October 21st they will reach the walls of the Kremlin, and they will be in the same situation as Napoleon was, looking at the Kremlin and Moscow burned by Putin, who fled to Vladivostok. Seems like. So let's see what the Russians are doing while they are retreating, running like I don't know, sprintsmen. This article comes from Ukrainska Pravda, September 8, 2022. Armed forces of Ukraine push Russia's forces back by 50 kilometers in Kharkiv region and regain 20 settlements. Now 50 kilometers, about 30 miles. So let's see. The defense forces of Ukraine have already returned more than 700 square kilometers on the Kharkiv and Pivdeny Bukh fronts under government control. I have here an article where it says that Ukrainian forces, since September 1st, armed forces have liberated more than 1,000 square kilometers of Ukraine's land, Zelensky claimed today in a different article. So let's go back to this one. They say they liberated 700 square kilometers on the Kharkiv and Pivdeny Bukh fronts under government control. Source: Oleksiy Khromov, Deputy Chief of the Main Operational Directive of the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine at the briefing on 8th of September. Whew. They have this kind of titles that are never ending. So this guy is Deputy Chief of Main Operational Directive of the General Staff and Armed Forces of Ukraine. It was like 9 words for saying who this guy is. So if he's on the payphone, the token gets done by the time you say, I would like to speak with Deputy Chief of insert more coins. You're out. Alright, so quote from Khromov. As part of the defense operation on the Kharkiv front, with the aim of restoring lost territories, the armed forces of Ukraine, in cooperation with units of the National Guard and other security forces since the beginning of the week, have been conducting active combat operations on certain fronts. In general, our units in separate areas advanced from 2 to several dozen kilometers deep into the enemy's defense. A number of settlements were liberated from the Russian army. Now, this is a quote from Khromov. Khromov is Ukrainian, is not American. I have never heard, until I came to the United States, or at least in Great Britain, the term dozen. We don't use dozens. I'm talking about Romanians, and I'm pretty sure the Russians use decimals. They use tens, 20s, 30s. They don't use 12. We don't go by 12 here. Okay? So whoever wrote this supposedly quote from Khromov, he never used the word dozen. He used tens, like 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, as I said, hundreds. They go like the Romans in decimals, 10, okay? They don't go by 12. I don't know where 12 comes from. I don't know where it's come from, but I know Americans are using dozens. I know the British use dozen as 12, but we don't go by 12, 24, 36. Is that how it goes? Nah. So this guy who's an Ukrainian, I guarantee you, he did not use dozen. He used tens. And you can say, well, Emil, this is just a translation from the Ukrainian into English. Okay, that would work to me. But if the guy said 50s or tens of thousands, tens, this guy used dozen. Just an observation. A number of settlements were liberated from Russian army. Okay, so they got from 2 to several dozen kilometers deep into the enemy's defense. The total area of the territory returned to the control of Ukraine on the Kharkiv and Pivdeni Bukh fronts exceed 700 square kilometers. Zelensky said 1,000 overall. 1,000. According to Hromov, the military units have penetrated up to 50 kilometers. Why don't they say 50 miles? Or I don't know, why don't they say, I don't know, 3,529 feet? Because they don't go by feet and yards, and they go by kilometers and meters. Deep into Russia's defense on the Kharkiv front, filtration measures are ongoing in a number of settlements. It's very strange that they kept kilometers and they didn't change it into something else, like I'm sure they changed over there with dozens. More than 20 settlements were liberated from the Russian army while conducting active actions on the Kharkiv front. On the Kramatorsk front, units of the armed forces of Ukraine improved their tactical positions and advanced to a depth of 2 kilometers. In the course of the offensive operations on the Slovyansk front, units of the 103rd Separate Territorial Defense Forces Brigade, together with units of 15th Regiment of the National Guard of Ukraine, advanced 3 kilometers deep and liberated the village of Ozerne. The group of the defense forces continued to conduct active actions on the Kherson front as well. Battles are taking place to improve the positions on the front line. The Russian army is partially demoralized, but continues to resist, the Brigadier General noted. Well, so be it. If you say so, so be it. Filtration measures. That's not right, because I know that when the Russians had their filtration measures, they were talking about getting people undressed and checking them, and that is kind of like Nazis, and there is Second World War again, and then concentration camps, and then if you go like that, where that's gonna end up. So I guess if the Ukrainians are doing is okay, which I think is okay, but when the Russians are doing, that's something that is not okay. Well, what can you do? This is what they say. We have to, bear with them. Regarding the offensive, this is what they report. I have no other sources. I can have other sources, but this is the mainstream, let's put it this way, media, Ukrainian media, which obviously says things, and then it's good to analyze their mentality and their way of dispersing propaganda. Now, I don't know if that's accurate what they said, but nevertheless, if they liberated about 1,000 square kilometers, that's a lot, but I can't verify this true. I know I saw some pictures with some Ukrainians planting some flags on some buildings. They named the cities, so it must be true. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.